And then you see these are three types of hormonal interaction. Permissive hormonal interaction, synergism, and antagonism. Now we will discuss the gland, the endocrine gland. First, the pituitary gland. First, the pituitary gland or hypophysis. The pituitary gland or hypophysis. You see, this is the pituitary gland. A small gland, less than 1 gram. This gland locates in cavity called sella torsika at the base of the brain. Pituitary gland is composed of two parts or two glands. Anterior pituitary gland or part or adenohypophysis, and the second part, posterior pituitary gland or neurohypophysis. These two glands or two parts are different in their embryology, histology, and physiology. Both are connected with the hypothalamus. Both glands are connected with the hypothalamus through hypothalamic hypophyseal tract, either directly or indirectly. Posterior pituitary gland is connected with the hypothalamus directly, and anterior pituitary gland is connected with the hypothalamus indirectly. It means that hypothalamus affects the secretion of the hormones from the pituitary gland. Posterior pituitary gland connected with the hypothalamus directly. It means that the hormones of the posterior pituitary gland originally come from the hypothalamus. Neurons extend from hypothalamus down into the posterior pituitary gland. It means the function of posterior pituitary gland just storage function, because hormones, they come from the hypothalamus, from two nuclei. First, paraventricular nucleus produces oxytocin hormone and little of ADH. And the second nucleus, supraoptic nucleus, produces ADH mainly and a little bit of oxytocin. Oxytocin hormone, its function on the delivery and on the release and synthesis of the hormone in the mammary glands, and on the delivery, as we had it as example for the positive feedback control. But the function of ADH on the kidney tubules and on the blood vessels. Then you see posterior pituitary gland produces two hormones, oxytocin and antidiuretic hormone. Antidiuretic hormone has two main actions on the kidney tubules to increase the reabsorption of water back into the blood, and second, to vasoconstrict the blood vessels. But the receptors in these two cases are different. The receptors on the kidney tubules and the receptors on the blood vessels. deficiency of oxytocin usually does not cause that problem. Delivery occurs, but in difficult manner, as well as the release of the milk into the baby. But deficiency of ADH produces serious problem, because its deficiency causes the excretion a lot of water. This is disease called diabetes insipidus, similar to the diabetes mellitus, but the cause is different. Diabetes insipidus, deficiency of ADH, causes the excretion a lot of water. In this case, the patient, if not treated, the patient dies. Sometimes excretion of water about 20 liters per day. It's called diabetes insipidus. Now we see the hormones of the anterior pituitary. When we take section, histological section from the anterior pituitary, we find that there are at least 5 types of cells in the anterior pituitary. These are the cell types: somatotropes, corticotropes, thyrotropes, and gonadotropes, and lactotropes or mammotropes. Each cell type produces one hormone usually, except gonadotropes. Gonadotropes, they produce these cells 2 hormones: follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. The others, somatotropes, these cells they produce growth hormone. Corticotropes, they produce adrenocorticotropic hormone or corticotropin, ACTH. Thyrotropes, they produce thyroid stimulating hormone or TSH. And lactotropes, these cells they produce prolactin. And then these are the anterior pituitary hormones produced by 5 types of cells: somatotropes, corticotropes, thyrotropes, gonadotropes, and lactotropes. You remember when we talked about the posterior pituitary part or gland, we said that the posterior pituitary gland is connected with the hypothalamus directly. It means that the hormones of the posterior pituitary gland come originally from the hypothalamus. But as for the anterior pituitary gland affected by the hypothalamus indirectly, it means that the hormones of the hypothalamus are not released directly into the anterior pituitary gland, but they are released into location in the hypothalamus called median eminence. From that location are released when they are stimulated into the anterior pituitary gland to affect the hormones. And these are the hormones of the hypothalamus. Thyrotropin releasing hormone stimulates secretion of thyroid stimulating hormone. Gonadotropin releasing hormone stimulates FSH and LH. Corticotropin releasing hormone stimulates the activity of ACTH. And growth hormone releasing hormone, we understand the function of this releasing hormone, release the growth hormone secretion, or growth hormone inhibitory hormone, which is called somatostatin, inhibits the secretion of growth hormone, and prolactin inhibiting hormone, the H structure dopamine, inhibits the secretion of the prolactin. Then these are the hypothalamic hormone. These hormones, they influence the secretion of the anterior pituitary hormones. We'll talk about the growth hormone first, because the growth hormone has all the cells in the body as target tissues or hormones. Therefore, we started discussing the growth hormone functions. You see, growth hormone functions on metabolism, increase plasma glucose, increase plasma free fatty acid, decrease plasma amino acid, and decrease plasma urea. And also growth hormone functions on adipose tissue, decreases uptake of glucose, increase lipolysis, result adiposity is decreased, and on the muscle, decrease glucose uptake, increase amino acid uptake, and increase protein synthesis. And also growth hormone functions on the kidney, pancreas, intestines, islets, parathyroids, skin, connective tissue, bone, heart, and lungs. You see, increased protein synthesis in all these organs, DNA, RNA synthesis, cell size and number. As a result, increases organ size and organ function. And also growth hormone functions on chondrocytes, the cartilage cells. You see, increase all the activities: amino acid uptake, protein synthesis, DNA, RNA synthesis, chondroitin sulfate, collagen, cell size and number, linear growth increase. Then you see, this is in general, this figure shows the functions of the growth hormone on the metabolism, on the adipose tissue, muscle cells, and other organs such as kidney, pancreas, and chondrocytes, the cardiac cells. Just to have an idea about the factors which they stimulate the growth hormone secretion and other factors they inhibit. These factors they stimulate growth hormone secretion: decrease blood glucose, decrease blood free fatty acid, starvation or fasting, protein deficiency, trauma, stress, excitement, exercise, testosterone, estrogen, deep sleep, and growth hormone releasing hormone. Those inhibiting the growth hormone secretion increase blood glucose levels, increase blood free fatty acids, aging, obesity, growth hormone inhibitory hormone, growth hormone exogenous, and somatomedins. These hormones are produced by the liver. They function similar to the growth hormone, but on other organs. Deficiency of growth hormone produces dwarfism. The person which has growth hormone deficiency becomes short or dwarf. The disease is called dwarfism. Then deficiency causes dwarfism. These individuals usually they have normal intelligence. Usually they have normal intelligence, but they are short, dwarfs. But increase in growth hormone secretion. The growth hormone secretion increasing during the childhood produces giantism. The person is called giant. Long bones grow in length, height 7 to 8 feet, overgrowth of the muscles. But if the over-secretion occurs after being adult, this produces acromegaly. The person is called acromegaly. The person becomes, is called acromegaly. Both thickening, especially of face, jaw, nose, hands, and feet. Overgrowth of soft tissues, internal organs such as heart, spleen, stomach, etc. Then you see the over-secretion produces either giantism or gigantism, and acromegaly produces either giants or acromegalic individuals. Now we'll have an idea about the thyroid gland. You see this thyroid gland located in front of the trachea. Is composed of two lobes. Right lateral lobe of thyroid gland and left lateral lobe of thyroid gland. These two parts or two lobes are joined by part is called isthmus. Isthmus. And then this isthmus joins the two lobes of thyroid gland. The mass of the gland about 30 gram. Rich in blood supply. Very important gland. Thyroid gland unique of two aspects. First, the only gland incorporates inorganic substance with organic substance. Iodine with amino acid is called tyrosine. Second, thyroid gland, the only gland, produces hormones and stores these hormones sufficient for the human being for about 2 months. Therefore, thyroid gland is different. First, incorporation, binding of inorganic substance, iodine with organic substance, tyrosine, this amino acid, and inorganic iodine. Thyroid gland binds iodine with the tyrosine, produces element called monoiodotyrosine. And also binds to iodine with tyrosine, produce another element called diiodotyrosine. This is called iodination. This is called iodination or organification. Iodination, the tyrosine iodinated with iodine. Now, iodinated tyrosines bind with each other. They produce one of two hormones or three hormones. First, when two diiodotyrosine bind with each other, they produce hormone called tetraiodothyronine or thyroxine or T4. You see, this tyrosine has two iodine, with another tyrosine has two iodines binding with each other, producing tetraiodothyronine or thyroxine or T4. And then thyroid gland produces mainly this hormone. But when one diiodotyrosine binds with one monoiodotyrosine, produces another hormone called triiodothyronine or T3. Sometimes one monoiodotyrosine binds with diiodotyrosine, produces third hormone called triiodothyronine or reverse T3. You see the same almost the same number of iodine, but the location of the iodine in the reverse T3 is different from the location of iodine in the T3. Thyroid hormone, thyroid gland produces mainly T4. This hormone either inactive or it has little activity. But this hormone produces by metabolism either T3 or reverse T3. Therefore, this T4 is called prohormone. The most active of thyroid gland is the T3. Reverse T3 is totally inactive. When we have section from thyroid gland, we find that the section is composed of follicles, Hoyslak. This is thyroid follicle, encircled by the thyroid epithelial cells. These cells, they produce the hormones. Inside the follicle fluid, colloid, containing hormones, enzymes, proteins, etc. In the thyroid gland, two types of cells: follicular cells, or epithelial cells, or thyroid cells, or thyroid epithelial cells. These cells, they produce thyroid hormones. In between the follicles, there are parafollicular cells. These parafollicular cells, they produce unrelated hormone. It is called calcitonin. Unrelated hormone called calcitonin. Calcitonin functions on the calcium. Anyway, these hormones are stored in the follicles, in the colloid. You see, as you know now, there are two main hormones, T4 and T3. They exert negative feedback mechanism on TSH from the pituitary gland and on TRH from the hypothalamus. Therefore, the hormones from the thyroid gland, either they decrease TSH from anterior pituitary gland or TRH, or they decrease. This is the negative feedback control of the thyroid hormones, or regulation of hormone secretion, regulation of thyroid hormone secretion. Just now we said that thyroid gland produces mainly T4. This is microgram, 35 reverse T3. From thyroid, all the T4 from thyroid, but 25% of T3 from thyroid, but 75 from T4, 75 of T3 from T4. Reverse T3, just 5% from thyroid, and 95% from the metabolism of T4. You see, T4 is a prohormone. T4 is a prohormone, produces 75 of that T3 and 95 of the reverse T3. The explanation of this, that if there is need, T4 produces mainly T3 and 95% of reverse T3, because reverse T3 is inactive. But when there is no that need, little of T3 and more reverse T3. Then This is the thyroid hormone take over the production of T4, T3, and reverse T3 from the thyroid and from the metabolism of T4. And here shows the plasma concentration, and here the free, and this is the half-life. Now we will have an idea about the thyroid hormone synthesis, hormone synthesis and release. You see, iodine is taken from plasma on carriers along with sodium. And these carriers, they carry sodium as well as iodine. And these are the epithelial cells. And this is the colloid inside the follicles. This iodine passes into the second membrane, the second part of the membrane of the same cells. This is the apical membrane or luminal membrane. And this is the basal membrane, just around the follicles. Then iodine is taken inside the colloid. Iodine oxidized, you see, under the effect of this enzyme. The epithelial cells of thyroid, they produce protein called thyroglobulin. This protein chemistry is produced by about 100 amino acids or tyrosines. These tyrosines on thyroglobulin, they carry the iodine. And also, these tyrosines of thyroglobulin, they produce the hormones. It means that the iodination and coupling, they occur on the tyrosines in the structure of thyroglobulin. You see, thyroglobulin in the colloid carries monoiodotyrosine, diiodotyrosine, T3, reverse T3, and T4. In the thyroglobulin having all these hormones or elements into cells by a process called pinocytosis. Inside the cells lies this thyroglobulin. There are enzymes inside the epithelial cells. Then the hormones are released into the blood to be used. Then this is the synthesis and the release of the thyroid hormones. Hypothyroidism, deficiency of thyroid hormone, they produce individuals, short individuals. They are called cretins. Cretins, C-R-E-T-I-N-S, cretins. The disease is called cretinism. But these short people, the cretins, are mentally retarded. And all the organs are affected in these cretins. I will see if I find this abnormality. Anyway, you will find it somewhere. Then cretins, hypothyroidism, they produce when T3, T4 are low, cretins. These cretins, usually they have mentally retarded. But the hyperthyroidism, they produce T3, T4 high, and symptoms: exophthalmos and goiter. Exophthalmos, protrusion of the eyeballs, and goiter, enlargement of thyroid gland. But usually the abnormal presence of thyroid stimulating hormone in a thyroid gland causes disease called Graves' disease, which causes T3, T4 high. This causes the goiter also. You see, there are goiters when T3, T4 low and when T3, T4 high. But the goiters when T3, T4 low, these are benign goiter. These are benign goiter, non-malignant goiter. But the goiters produced by the high T3, T4, these goiters are called malignant goiter. You see, the goiter either malignant or benign. Benign when T3, T4 low, malignant when T3, T4 high.